In today's video, we've got the final build of the Vendetta. This is a prop and cosplay item from Rainbow Six Siege. It's completely hollow and made of plastic, as you've seen from part 1. And we're going to be putting it together today and doing the full assembly. So this is an excellent 3D model done by Trucks, and I got to basically beta test it, so it's really cool. There's also a part 1 video that shows me 3D printing all the bits and assembling them together and painting them up as you see them right now. And this is actually not the original part 2. The original part 2 was actually destroyed by the powers that be and is no longer in existence because apparently this was too real. So anyway, now you see me putting all the different parts together. We've got all the little bits that are going to assemble, and these are of course non-functional, but they make it all look real cool. And this is a replication of the one in Rainbow Six Siege, which is a computer game, and this is a prop from that game. And the cool thing here is that we've got bits that go in and cause articulation, so that they actually kind of move a little bit, and that gives them the sense of reality when in fact nothing here is functional, which is cool, as holding it is awesome. It's a really nice prop, this one. So as you can see here, that is a black piece that's going to hold that piece in. Then we've got a silver part that's going to then connect onto it. And then when this is all kind of glued into position, you end up with that articulation, which is just really cool. And overall, the Vendetta is really starting to come together. Again, this is used by Demus in Rainbow Six Siege, and it looks really cool. It feels great in the hand as well when we get to the full assembly. But as you can see, we are slowly getting this thing together, and it just looks great. You can still see the print lines of the 3D model, and the fact that it's hollow, of course, means it doesn't feel even slightly real. But it's cool, and I like it. And I could do more to take away the print lines, stuff like that. But also I like the print lines, and everything I print is 3D. I enjoy seeing the actual lines. It's part of the creation. It's like a maker's mark for me when you see it on something that's made out of wood and you see the marks of tools. That's what I actually like seeing, the layer lines, because I know that it was made by a 3D printer and I don't really want to get rid of it because that's part of its history and its creation. Now we get into some satisfying parts here, so have a listen to this. So these parts just clip together so beautifully. And I'm kind of amazed by it because they're just plastic, right? There's nothing to it, but it sounds cool. And I just love all these little kind of noises. And that's simply the part that holds the handguard in place with no glue, which is sensational. So you could take that out, and that's really sweet. Now we've got the cylinder. This comes with a lot of different parts, and you will have noticed on the body as well, we added a little black piece, which is the clicker, so that it gives this fake cylinder some noise when it's going around. And you have to rotate it with your hand. It doesn't actually do anything. It's not functional or anything like that, but it just sounds cool. So we're going to be putting this together. You can also see we have a spring in there too, and we have a lot of parts. And this was a joy to assemble because I was the first person ever doing it. I was beta testing this model for Trucks, and it was really cool to be the first to ever try and put it together. And there was only a few pieces I had to kind of troubleshooted, but the whole thing went together really well. The instructions here for putting it together were amazing, and this meant our whole cylindrical area was able to be created, and it's just really cool. And again, just hollow plastic, nothing kind of substance to this, but even though I did come at it with a hammer for that top part there, and I really need to get like a rubber hammer or something. But went ahead and started assembling it. So this went together beautifully. Had to make sure the right parts were glued together so the other bits would move, so this whole thing could rotate. Because this is a nice visual thing that you can mess around with and touch. It's very tactile actually. So it's nice to have this be done correctly and just look and sound cool. So as you can see, I'm going ahead and assembling the whole lot. Now I have to watch out because of course this is fragile, it's all hollow plastic, there's nothing of substance to it, so things can be easily bent and broken, so I'm really trying not to. Now at this point in the video guys, like and subscribe, and if you want, comment below too. As I said earlier, the OG part 2 was fizzled out of existence, so that's why we're here doing this and hopefully creating something really cool, but also blabbing in a way that is hopefully not going to have any connection. Anyway, assembly is going really good. As you can see, I've got this sped up as we put it together. Of course, nothing to this. It's just all plastic with silver paint, but it looks cool. Really nice cosplay item. And overall, it's just an awesome prop. Really cool. And I'm very happy with the 3D model that was originally made by Trucks. Looks great, and beta testing this was awesome. Only had a few remarks on little changes to be made. You can see it even has like magnets as well that hold things together. But yeah, it is really coming together beautifully, and we're going to have our final prop and cosplay item done in a second. And we'll have some glorious sounds as well, because this thing does have that clicker inside that gives it the, well, it's still plasticky, but it does give it kind of a nice noise and just add something to the overall design. Otherwise, it would be, of course, just an inanimate object. And yeah, this looks awesome. But this is the final little bit of glue. This is it. So we are done. And she looks gorgeous. Light as can be, of course, weighs nothing. And you've got that little clicker there, which is just a plastic bit that's hitting that plastic piece inside. So it kind of sounds cool, and it does also sound plasticky, but it's something. It really adds a little extra to it. And overall, just cool to have made. Looks awesome. Feels, of course, like a light, hollow, completely empty prop, but the look of it, I think, is excellent. And one of my favorite creations so far, for sure. It's just a little bit different. It is sweet to look at, and overall, very happy with it. Now, of course, could have done much more work to the paint job. But like I say, I actually like the maker's marks of those layer lines because it just gives it the originality of where it came from. You know, because of course it's 3D printed, it's completely hollow, there's nothing in it, there's nothing to it. But those layer lines to me show which orientation I'm printing stuff in, and to me it's part of the maker marks. Because of course, the thing that did the most making in this whole project was the 3D printer itself, not me. And of course, I didn't even make the 3D models. So this is, to me, made by the 3D printer. And then, of course, I've given it a paint up and I've assembled it. But it is made by the 3D printer. And I love just seeing those lines because it means that I can see where it came from, the orientation. I can look back at this and remember how I've decided to print it all and just assembled it. And yeah, this is interesting because my most successful video on this channel is a similar subject, but I never painted it, and it did extremely well. It still gets views to this point. It's been up for like an entire year, and every single month it gets the same amount of views every single month. So it's kind of cool to return and try this out. But of course, with the powers that be coming down hard on it, I probably would stay away from this subject in the future, unfortunately. But I think still it's cool to have messed around with.